Hey, it's Aaron. Today I'm standing with a 2021 Nissan GT-R. So the GT-R is Nissan's halo car. It's their super sports car, supercar, bunch of names for this thing. My favorite name for this is Godzilla.
This review is brought to you by Charcoal Toothpaste.
So the GT-R has been around for quite a while. This particular iteration is about, I want to say 14 years old at this time. But there really isn't a whole lot of need to change this. You got a massively awesome 3.8 liter V6 under there with turbocharging and all kinds of goodies. It's all-wheel drive all the time. It's exceedingly fast. 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. 3 seconds. I graduated first grade, I promise. So anyway, very, very wonderful car. This is, I will say, the only modern car I have a poster of on my wall. So that should tell you something about it. Now, the GT-R is not a rumbling, loud machine like the, say, Hellcat models or any of the big V8 powered vehicles, even the Jaguar F-Type. It's not in that league, but it can compete with those vehicles. It's exceedingly fast. It runs off the line very, very quickly and holds its grip the whole time because all-wheel drive. It's a very, very well done all-wheel drive system. Now that 3.8 liter engine under there, it's putting out about 565 horsepower. That's as of the 2021 model year. You can boost that up with some changes and upgrades, some of the models. This in particular is one of the more, I guess, roadworthy kind of classic models, but you're not going to be, it's not cheap. You're not going to be getting into one of these for, just a few bucks. It's not a BRZ or any of those. This is most people who buy one of these are going to be spending around 6 figures. You're going to get right into about $100,000. This particular one is $122,000. So not a low-cost vehicle, but holy crap is it fast, and it is a lot of fun. It's a beautiful car. Just have a look at it. I'll just show it to you. I'll talk a little bit more though. So the GT-R has been, it's the latest iteration of what Nissan calls its Fairlady group. So that goes quite a ways back. They have had these since the, I want to say 1950s. Beautiful cars, every single one of them. This is the latest rendition of what that looks like. So just a powerful vehicle. So a couple things to talk about. I already talked about the engine. I already talked about the roughly 3 second 0 to 60. Some people get under that. There have been tests on this in last year and this year that have put it at 2.9. There are some that are getting slightly over 3. I don't have the kind of skill level to really be able to give you that kind of performance number. My numbers have been closer to 3.5-ish, closer to 3.5, 3.6. That's been my numbers, and I am not a pro, and I'm doing it on public roads. So much better drivers than me are getting much better numbers. So a couple of things I've noticed that I think are pretty new. I haven't driven one of these in maybe 4 years now. The last time I drove one was on a racetrack. By the way, this car will make anybody feel like a complete pro and badass on the racetrack. This is one of the greatest cars you can take out there as an amateur or a pro. You can do so many cool things with this car. It's just phenomenal. So back to it. Just so you know, there are going to be very few bad points I'm going to give on this car because I am not only totally biased, I am totally in love. So back to it. The door handles, these are pretty cool. You push in on this end and it pops out. That gives you a flush here, so maybe some aerodynamics, I don't know, but it looks really cool. And then this button is your door locks, so you push this to lock and unlock the doors. You can do this to open the doors. On the inside, you got 2+2 seating. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you can sit people in the back seat. You probably could if they're really, really small. Or if you're willing to suck these seats way forward so that they have some leg room. As it is right now, I am 6'3", sitting in this car with the seat positioned for me to drive. Not in performance driving. I would have it slightly forward if I was really on the track hitting performance because I want a little more bend in my leg. But the way it is right here, sitting in this car, There is less than an inch of clearance between the back of this seat and where the knees bend, so the edge of the back seat. That's how tiny that seat is. If you buy one of these for a performance preference, they do have like a backseat delete package and a few other things. Really consider those. So, automatic transmission, you can't get it any other way. But I will tell you, you will not find a better transmission than this one. It is beautiful. It's really aggressive downshifting, loves to upshift. It shifts very, very quickly. And then if you want control, if you're on the track, which I have done with previous iterations of this car, you can use the paddle shifters to force the gearing. So you can push the gear gate over to manual and force it. So wonderfully, wonderfully done. Pretty decent stereo in this, but to be really frank, I haven't listened to it very much. I've mostly just been driving around with the windows down and listening to the engine. It's not the kind of engine you expect to hear, right? A lot of people, they associate beautiful engine noise with big throaty V8s, but this is such a beautiful car, and it just sounds so good when you're pumping it, you know, stop and go and moving and doing a lot of things in it. You will also rarely hear tire squeal in this car. So when you do hear tire squeal, it's probably because you're cornering very hard. You're probably never going to get it when you're trying to accelerate. Because those tires are grippy as hell, and this all-wheel drive system is beautifully balanced, perfectly made for this car. You see the big old brakes under there? Those are Nissan-made brakes, but they are big, heavy caliper brakes, large discs on there, wonderful setup. It grips really well, drives really well, stops on a dime immediately. So nicely done for there. You can see the spoiler, it's part of a package. You can change the spoiler a little bit. This is pretty much the standard one you're going to always see. And engine. Can't talk about this car without talking about the engine. So let's wait for those bells to finish and look at that. So we're looking at the engine here. Each of these engines for this car are hand built. They are hand built by master craftsmen. One guy makes the whole engine. So what you're looking at here is you're seeing the intake manifold on top here. Wonderful coloring. Isn't that really pretty to look at? So beautiful. I have seen models of this car where they have a cutout at the top so you can see that. This particular one, you can see the guy's name. I am not going to butcher it, try to pronounce it. But you can see here's where your turbos lie. Here's the headers down there. You can just... did I say... whatever, you know what I'm pointing at. So you can see just how beautifully made and how well done and pretty this engine is. I haven't done anything to clean it. It came to me like this, and I've been driving it like this. But just a wonderful setup. You have access to a few things. Your battery's up here. Brake fluid is over in that corner. You have your overflow here for the coolant, and air filters down here and over there. So the intakes from the top, you could probably just see those up here. These are coming from those two hood scoops. So when I shut the hood and you look at it, you'll see those two scoops. They're coming into these, pushing airflow to specific points of the vehicle. In this case, they're pushing it right on top of the block, which creates that air movement to help keep the engine cool. The rest of the intake is in the front of the car, so you're getting it down there. It's coming up and in. You can see a few other details, carbon composite, a few other things to kind of help lighten the load and add stiffness to the vehicle. Just a wonderful setup. So let me close the hood, and I'll show you those scoops, and then we'll look at the front of the vehicle. So you can see on the front those hood scoops I was talking about right there. Those are bringing air in and pushing it onto the engine, and then it exits out the bottom and towards the back of the car. Then in the front, looking at the front of the car here, so you can see where the air comes in. So a little bit of air here, a lot more air here. Now the dam in the front is keeping the air from going too far underneath, so it's controlling the airflow under and around the car. Any sports car, if you've seen any kind of sports car, you have seen that in action before. Beautiful GT-R symbol there, and just a nice setup. I love the lighting. I just like the look of this car. let me pan up a little bit and give you an idea of what it looks like all together from the front. So you see just a nice flow to the hood line up, and those cuts going that way and that way around the lights to create those bulging, powerful fenders, and then that short windscreen to create that low and tight look. So from the back, that low and tight look continues. It is it is very, very low and tight in its drive. So the look is not just for a look. That is indicative of what the car actually does. So you can see these signature tail lamps. Everybody recognizes what those are. There's the GT-R symbol again, Nissan on the back. And then look at those tailpipes. Twin tailpipes on either side, all functional. And just wonderfully done with the slight blue edge to kind of match the body color. And then you can see the rear dam and the shape of it, which creates the shape of airflow behind the car. So this fat rear end that you see on a lot of sports cars, it's there for a reason. That it works well with that air spoiler right there, and with the way that it's coming from underneath the car. It's just a beautiful movement of both sight, the way we're looking at it, and the car itself, and for the air when you're looking at it in a tunnel and you're driving it down the road. So that's about what I got. I haven't pretended to be objective at all. I am totally not objective with this car. This is one of my favorite cars ever. This is a true classic. My generation, maybe the generation after mine, and a lot of people look at this car and see nothing but greatness. So with the Nissan GT-R here, Nissan has pretty steadily been adding horsepower and other things to the car since its inception roughly 14 years ago. And that's all good things. It's about time for a new generation, but Nissan hasn't talked about when they're going to do that yet. Now, things to know about this car. One of the things to know is that everybody likes this car. It doesn't matter if they're a muscle car only enthusiast or if they're a supercar enthusiast or what. Everybody who looks at this car or everybody who knows about this car, they like this car. They respect it. Now, they may not think that it's the greatest car in the world and they may not want to own one, but they all respect it. And there's good reason for that. So, beautiful job from Nissan. I really like this car and I'm really glad I got to have it. So, that's about what I got. And yeah, that's it. So this has been Aaron in front of the the 2021 Nissan GT-R. Talk to you again soon.
Subscribe.